Hey there, we're at Mount Rushmore. This is a really awesome park, and the history with the sculptures is just really amazing. We're also so excited to be here and try Thomas Jefferson's ice cream. However, they didn't have any, which was such a letdown, such a bummer. But I did get his recipe, so we'll be trying this at home. I think I'll do the cookies and cream. What makes the Jefferson ice cream taste different? So a strong vanilla. Okay. We came up here to obviously see the monument and to try Thomas Jefferson's vanilla ice cream. And sadly, they don't have any. They've been out of supply for 3 months because their supplier, their building got hailstorm crushed or something like that, which is really sad. So we're just eating regular ice cream. The really neat thing about Thomas Jefferson is he's credited with having the first ice cream recipe in America, and written down, that is. Ice cream in America had been around, but the first recipe is from him. But something that I learned is that if he wasn't exposed to ice cream before going to France, because it was here in some form in America, but then when he went to France, he had ice cream there, which was very popular. And his granddaughter later wrote down almost the exact same recipe. At the bottom, credit it to the chef that they had in France. So most likely the recipe, Jefferson's recipe that we have now, is from his French chef when he lived there. And his recipe, says 2 bottles of good cream, 6 yolks of egg, half a pound of sugar. So that's all that the main ingredients in here. The lady who was helping us, I asked her what the difference is between Jefferson's vanilla and regular vanilla that we have today, or at least what they sell here, the difference between the two. And she said that his vanilla is it's stronger. You have a stronger sense of the vanilla, and it sounds like it's a vanilla bean ice cream that they use. So you see the bean seeds in there. It's strong, apparently. So this that I'm eating, I got a cookies and cream. And honestly, it tastes like a typical cookies and cream. It melts very quickly in your mouth. It's very, very sweet. I'm glad that I get to share it. It's kind of grainy as well. It's like cotton candy, where you put it on your tongue and it just dissolves. And it has that grainy, sugary texture, as cotton candy does as well. Ice cream obviously is fun anytime, anywhere. And you eat what's available. But if you really want quality ice cream, then most likely you'd have to pay good money for it or learn to make it yourself, which I could teach you at CREAMARIE Co. You can learn how to make your own amazing, delicious, exactly how you want it ice cream. For me, ice cream, really amazing quality, is a very creamy texture. So this is not very creamy, it's just kind of grainy. It literally just dissolves on your tongue. Also, this one, it kind of tastes a little bit freezer burnt. So the flavor is kind of off to me. So quality is very creamy, a dense ice cream. One that my ice cream, it can touch your tongue, but it's not going to melt immediately. Obviously, it does begin to melt because your mouth is warm, but it's not like cotton candy melting. With my ice cream, it's dense. You're able to chew it, which is very important to me. And it also kind of leaves this coating of cream in your mouth. It leaves a lovely kind of aftertaste in your mouth. And I really like that with really good ice cream. Yeah, so much air. And the texture, it doesn't even hold. It doesn't hold at all. Mila's finishing the ice cream. Good job. All done. All done. Oh, excuse you. I'm very curious. It says 2 bottles of good cream. I don't know exactly how much that is. So I'm going to use 4 cups. And it says 6 egg yolks and half a pound of sugar, which is essentially 2 cups of sugar. And the last time I made ice cream that used 2 cups of sugar, it was so sweet, just sickly sweet, and the ice cream really wasn't very good. So I'm going to actually half this recipe and still using these 4 cups of cream. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out. I'll use 3 egg yolks, and it also in the recipe says to use 1 stick of vanilla. I couldn't find any vanilla bean, so I found vanilla paste, and it does say to use 1 teaspoon is equivalent to 1 vanilla bean. The first thing it says to do is mix the yolks and the sugar. So I'll do that. I'm just gonna use 3 eggs. And then it says to add a half a pound of sugar, so I'm gonna use 1 cup of sugar. Now by doing it this way, we should not have any scrambled eggs when we put it on the stove. I'm putting it on a medium heat. Now essentially with this, we want to dissolve the sugar and cook the eggs, temper the eggs. Our mixture is hot enough. It did not come to a boil. It's just before a boil to take it off the heat. And what I'm gonna do is add a teaspoon of vanilla paste. It's all mixed. Now we let it get really good and cold and strain through a towel. Well, we did not do that. Put it in the I don't even know how to say this word, sabotier. Then set it in ice an hour before it is to be served.
Okay, put into the ice a handful of salt. So this is the ice and salt.
So I obviously don't know what most of that means, because we don't use methods like that anymore. Our method is going to be very modern, and we're just going to put this in the fridge until it's very good and cold, and then we'll churn it in our ice cream machine. So let's do that. We're going to put it in a new container. Oh, you can see the vanilla bean paste in there, some of those seeds. Into the fridge we go until it's really good and cold. It is the end of the day, and our Thomas Jefferson vanilla ice cream base has been in the fridge for many, many hours, cooling, and during that time I was able to take my kids out on a fun little activity with friends. So now that it's the nighttime, we are going to churn our ice cream. And I want to say that you can smell the egg and the vanilla, but it's so subtle that I really can't tell. What I like about this is you can definitely see the vanilla bean in here. It is, I think it gives it a really pretty, dimension. What I also noticed is it doesn't seem very thick, whereas my ice cream is much thicker, even in a liquid form than this is. It does look really pretty seeing the flecks of vanilla bean in there. It's definitely more yellow because of the egg yolk, which is different from mine because I don't use egg. I really, really hope that this tastes good. I want it to. I want Thomas Jefferson's recipe to blow me away. It is fun to just pour it in here. All right, 2 pints. We're gonna stick these babies in the freezer, get them real good and hard. That's what's best. And hopefully when we try these later, they will be so good. We're gonna try the Thomas Jefferson ice cream. It has been in the freezer overnight. I hope that this is good. We'll find out.
Let's get your first reaction.
Okay.
Go.
Well, first off, it definitely feels a little soft. It's good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's soft, but there's still a little bit of density to it.
Yeah, there is. And you followed the recipe exactly, right?
Well, exactly in the sense that I used all the ingredients that it called for, but I halved it. And I used a vanilla bean paste instead of a vanilla bean because I couldn't find any. And I made it in the modern way. I used a machine and not ice and salt to make it.
Yeah, it definitely, and I'm not just saying this because it's Thomas Jefferson in that era, but it has kind of an old-fashioned taste in a good way. And it does kind of breathe throughout your mouth a little bit with the flavor. And in contrast to your vanilla, which you haven't done a vanilla bean yet. So that's why I think we need to really compare like apples to apples with that. There's a pretty good creaminess with this that I do like. Yours definitely has more density and chew, which to me means creamy.
Yeah.
In my mind, like the peak of creaminess.
I think mine is definitely more creamy. This is pretty creamy, and the egg yolk in there will assists in the creaminess of the ice cream. It also helps in the stabilization of the ice cream, meaning that it won't melt immediately coming out of the freezer. So the egg helps in that. And I use other ingredients in my ice cream to help in that process.
You can definitely taste the difference because it's more egg-based, right? Didn't it call for a lot of eggs?
Yeah, the recipe called for 6 egg yolks, and I only ended up using 3.
Because you have to.
Because I have to. And also, I used only heavy whipping cream in this recipe because that's what it said. 2 bottles of good cream. So I interpreted that as 4 cups of heavy cream because I have no idea what bottle.
Yeah, well, and the directions, do you feel like the directions were clear? Because they were basically transcribed from what Thomas Jefferson wrote in his journal, right?
It was written down. I don't know where he wrote it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I don't know how anybody fully can read the handwriting from back then. Yeah, I can't do it. So,
all the cursive and it's smudged off.
And it's so small and everything just looks the same. I don't know how they did it.
It looks like old parchment, cursive. There's words crossed out. It's smudgy. It's true to that time.
Yeah, I think this tastes really good. Oh, what I was going to say about the flavor. If you like whipped cream, that is exactly what this tastes like because it's just cream and vanilla and sugar minus the egg in whipped cream. But that is what it tastes like. And it kind of does the same coating of your mouth as whipped cream would when you just take a spoonful of it.
Yeah, that's
kind
true.
of a butteriness in your mouth.
That's kind of what the base, like the breath of it feels like. It's harder, but I was just thinking about, can I be honest? I still like yours better.
I thought you were gonna say you like this better.
No, and I'm not just saying
nervous.
that. Like, it's funny because as we've been sampling a lot more places and doing the reviews, as we'll keep doing, like I'm definitely usually behind the scenes capturing it. But as I've also tasted the ice cream, it's kind of like when you go at such a level of quality, it's hard to go back. And so anything that doesn't measure up doesn't taste very good to you. Mm-hmm. And you don't really know what you're missing, right? Like, we have our 2 boys under 5 who are just gonna be in love with just sweet and sugar tastes. And they have no concept of like, oh, you know, they're not snobby.
I do have a critique with this ice cream. I would add salt to it. It would just cut through, just a little bit of salt. It would cut through some of the sweetness. It would also enhance the flavor a little bit, give it a little more dimension. That's
a really good point, because I think about this with other foods. Sometimes they turn really bland. Mm-hmm. You know, if it lacks spices or flavors or just variety of what you're contributing, say, to certain meats or other side dishes. And so to me with this, I think the salt or other flavors, and I think that's why people, sure, vanilla is one of the most popular flavors, but people also go to other, adding toppings or doing sundaes or other variations, because sometimes just the straight one-sided flavor gets kind of boring. I would make it again and add salt to it to see how it changes. It could be a good way to celebrate like the national holidays or something, right? The 4th of July. How perfect to make Thomas Jefferson's ice cream on the 4th of July to celebrate our independence. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's going on the calendar. Well, we're doing in the calendar and your shop too. I wonder what that looks like, right? Like if we're able to resell in your shop, because it's obviously a departure from your signature style. Yeah. In your signature base, but it could be one of just celebratory, like, hey, we're recognizing one of the founding fathers this way. So cool. I would love to do that. And you can find this recipe online. I don't think that it's exclusive to Mount Rushmore. It was built up in my mind before we showed up to Mount Rushmore around like, oh, this is a big feature, a big thing. It's Thomas Jefferson's ice cream. There. And then you show up and it's like, oh, we don't open till 11. Like, okay. And then we showed up to the ice cream section and they're like, oh, we can't scoop it here, or we don't have ice cream. And then of course we heard the news that they haven't had ice cream delivered for the last 3 months because their manufacturer, Thomas Jefferson ice cream. That is such a good point to make, is so many places that we have been to do not make their ice cream in-house. It is delivered to them. And I really want to make that a change to change that in our ice cream shop when that is open. We will be making ice cream in-house. It's not going to be made anywhere else. I want to be able to have full control over the process. Yeah. And a lot of times those who are scooping it don't really know much about ice cream. Yeah. And they're just there to kind of, great, take an order, they could have a nice scoop going on. So I kind of felt underwhelmed. Of course, Mount Rushmore is a cool feature and a cool monument. Yeah. So that was obviously a highlight among other things, being with our family. But they basically turn you away. They don't really have a good, solid response apart from it's sold out, but they still have ice cream at another part, more of a cafeteria area. And they had one little small sign, pop it up here, where you see a picture of Thomas Jefferson and you can get his recipe, but they don't have it there. And they have all these other very generic ice creams that are in some ways below average compared to what you get at the store. Honestly, that's how I felt. And I don't mean to be mean here because that's not my intention, but the ice cream that we had there was it was not very good. It was too sweet. It was too grainy. It was too airy. It just melted. There's a perception, at least for me for a long time, of when you see big barrels of ice cream being scooped by someone behind a counter, there's a perception that that's going to be really good to you. Mm-hmm. And that like it's ice cream, ice and cream. Yes, give it to me. I want it, cup, cone, whatever. And now since learning more about what makes quality ice cream from you and actually tasting it, it really has changed my perspective. And so, not a lot of people are going to approach ice cream shops and they're going to have that same perception around Like I'm seeing people scoop it, so it must be good because I'm at an ice cream shop and they're professionals at the fact that they have an open shop delivering ice cream. But that's really not the case with so many ice cream shops. And that's why I am a big believer in what you're doing, that you're looking to change that, to educate people on what is truly the highest quality premium artisan ice cream out there. And so people have that understanding. So that way you ruin many ice creams for them. But I'm saying that like they can still appreciate ice cream, of course, and there's still good store-bought brands and scoop shops out there. And of course there's specialty scoop shops out there that you can enjoy. But that's kind of the idea. Like, you've ruined ice cream for me among all these other companies and brands, because when they go to mass distribution, they're putting so much air in it. It's losing the density. It's losing the quality of ingredients. For us to retain that, for you to retain that with Creamerie, and to ruin ice cream for others. I just dawned on me. I didn't think about this before, but yeah, that's kind of what it's doing in a good way.
But hopefully when we do have a shop open and people come and have Creamerie ice cream, it will blow their minds.
It is kind of like, we don't drink alcohol, but I've been around a lot of people and I've heard a lot of the language around how you describe, wine having legs, or appreciating the nuances of flavors and the quality behind different drinks. And in a funny way,
ice cream.
Yeah, I want that with ice cream, right? It's like, you have a little serving and you're like, you do the little,
and then you spit it out.
and then you spit. No, you don't spit. You swallow it. You appreciate it, but could have that critique behind ice cream, and because you don't see that. And ice cream has been around for hundreds of years, as has drinks and, of course, other foods that people can appreciate. So, yeah, let's change that. Let's help people appreciate what true quality looks like and tastes like.
Thank you, Thomas Jefferson, for recording this recipe. I do think that it's good. I wish that we had it at Mount Rushmore but also, if we had it at Mount Rushmore, I may have not appreciated it as much there as I do making it here at home. Reading the recipe, and hopefully it tastes like how theirs is or was, depending on if they ever get a shipment back. But I did think it was good. I would add salt.
Case closed.
Done. Thanks for joining me on Ice Cream Stories. I would definitely recommend trying Thomas Jefferson's ice cream. If you can't make it to Mount Rushmore, and if they don't ever get a shipment again of the ice cream, no worries, no fear. You can make it at home using his recipe. And it is very easy and simple. You don't have to follow how he froze his ice cream, because that method is painstakingly long. Just use an ice cream maker. That would be a lot easier. Or if you don't have an ice cream maker, then you can use his method. Also, that sabatier word or whatever is essentially a bowl full of ice and salt, and then you stick another bowl with your cream in it, and that's how you make your ice cream. So you can do that. But definitely try it. It's very good, and I'm happy with how it turned out. If you want to learn more about Creamerie ice cream and how to make ice cream the way I do, you can go to creamerie.co and read our blogs, buy our courses, and eventually buy our pints that will be shipped nationwide, and also eventually come to our scoop shops.